baseball. Going all the way back to some of the midweek games this week. Let's go back to Tuesday right now. Go around the SWAC. Couple teams, give you some updates of what's going on. Texas Southern was at home against Houston Tullisons, whatever, 16-1. Texas Southern won the game. Alabama A&M at home on the road against UT Martin. UT Martin with a victory, 16-2 over Alabama A&M. Mississippi Valley with a big victory over Rusk College at home, 15-9. Jackson State on the road taking on SEC Ole Miss, 18-7. Ole Miss with the victory. How about Bethune-Cookman in a close one against South Florida down in Tampa? 9-7. South Florida closes that thing out. How about UAPB going on the road, taking on Missouri up in Columbia, Missouri, taking on Coach Carrick Jackson and his Missouri team. Big one in this one. You would have thought it was a football game. 25-10, 25 runs for Missouri, 10 for the Golden Lions of Pine Bluff, 25-10 final score. Alabama State in the hard-fought win against Jacksonville State. Alabama State falls at home 12-6. McNeese holds it down at home against Alcorn State. McNeese wins 21-3. Grambling going on the road, taking on the number 2 team in the nation, the University of Arkansas, the Razorbacks. They played this game up in Little Rock. You know, sometimes the Razorbacks move around the state, get an opportunity for fans other than up in Northwest Arkansas and Fayetteville, get them an opportunity to see the team. And Grambling goes up to Little Rock in a tough one. 7-4 was the final as the Razorbacks got past Grambling. And then, of course, Southern taking on UNO down in New Orleans, man. It was a tough one for Southern. 20-9 was the final score in that one. And then we move on here to the weekend series as we get into the weekend. And Texas Southern and Alcorn in game 1. Texas Southern gets the victory on the road 5-1. How about Grambling and Southern in a tough one? 12-10 the final for Grambling over Southern. Grambling, I mean, I saw a video that's floating around on social media of a home run. I mean, the Grambling fans have really seemed like they've shown up at Lee Hines Field for the weekend series. Then you go on and move in, and that was Thursday. So then we move on until yesterday. Texas Southern gets the victory in game 2, 10-5 over Alcorn. Prairie View and Pine Bluff, I'm not sure what's going on with that series. I know some inclement weather has passed through. They may have postponed some things. I continue to try to find that out. But that series is up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I do know that they have been dealing with weather. Storm after storm after storm has been rolling through Arkansas. How about Jackson State and Florida A&M? Jackson State going on the road. 7-3 final score in game 1. Florida A&M gets it done. And Texas Southern closes it out against Alcorn 20-9 in that series. We got a battle of the Alabama schools. Game 1, Alabama State 11. Alabama A&M 1. The final over in game 1 in Montgomery. Bethune-Cookman taking on Mississippi Valley. Bethune-Cookman, the home team. Valley having to go over to Bethune. I think also Bethune may be playing at a neutral site. They're playing at some stadium. I saw something was going on with the stadium that they were in. But nonetheless, the Wildcats get the victory over the Delta Devils 13-3. That's Bethune-Cookman over Mississippi Valley. And then Grambling and Southern in game 2 went to 10 in, and Southern pulled it out. And what you would have thought was the Bayou Classic. 15-14 was the final score in this one. 15 runs for Southern, 14 for Grambling. Man, a lot of runs in that one. And then you look around today, Grambling and Southern, Mississippi Valley and Bethune-Cookman, Jackson, Florida A&M, Alabama A&M, and Alabama State have 2 games going on today. And then Mississippi Valley and Bethune-Cookman to get ready to close things out as you see fit with SWAC. That's what's going on with the weekend series. And now let's go through the SWAC standings where we stand this morning, kind of give you an idea of how things are lining up. Remember, they have done away with the division. So I know in the past you've heard me when I discuss SWAC basketball, the East Division and the West Division. Everybody's just straight up in the standings now. It's starting at the bottom. Alcorn State Braves 0-12 in conference play. They're 4-24 overall on the season. They're 10-game losing streak. It's rough up in Lorma, Mississippi for Alcorn State. Right behind it, right above them, Alabama A&M 2-8 in conference play. They're 8-21 overall on the season, riding a 5-game losing streak. Right above them, the Golden Lions of UAPB. How about UAPB? 3-6 in conference play with their first-year head coach. They're 5-25 overall on the season. They're also, like Alabama A&M, riding a 5-game losing streak. It is tough at the bottom of the SWAC. My man, God. There's Southern. It's right there. And, with 3 teams away from the bottom at 4-7 in conference play, 11-17 overall. They got the victory in game 2 yesterday against Grambling Valley, 4-6 in conference play, 9-11 overall. Jackson State 4-6 in conference play, 16-12 overall on the season, riding a 2-game losing streak. How about Prairie View? They're 4-5 in conference play, 8-23 overall. They're currently riding a 6-game losing streak. Man, SWAC baseball gonna have to get better. I'm realizing as I'm going, I'm giving you a lot of below 500. Let's keep it going. Grambling State, Southern's opponent this weekend in the series. They're 7-4 in conference play, 11-18 overall on the season. Then here we go. Alabama State, 7-3 in conference play. They're 14-17 on the season overall. And then Bethune-Cookman. How about Bethune-Cookman? The Florida schools have done very well since joining the SWAC and coming out of the MEAC. They have been right there at the top of the conference and competing in the SWAC tournament. Bethune-Cookman is 8-2 in conference play. They're 15-15. They're right at 500 on the season. Then you have Texas Southern,